Hello, it's Michelle from CNC Designs. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in New Zealand, and I'm here to bring you another global monthly video hop. So the theme for the April video hop is anything but a card. So I had to rack my brain to come up with something that's not a card. I like doing 3D objects all the time. I make boxes and other things, which you may have seen in my other videos. But I thought, because Easter's coming up, let's do something different. So I created a decoration, an Easter decoration. And here it is, a little 3D object. It sits like that on your table, but when you view it, that's the way you view it, and then you can see from behind. So it's just a cute little chicken inside a egg. So that's why I have the white and the yellow representing the yolk and the shell. So I'm going to change it up a little bit, like I quite often do when I show you how to make things. But for this one, the basic things you need is your base. So I did mine as if it was sitting on grass. Looking at it now, I was thinking, could have done that in different colors and made it look like the yolk of the egg or the egg white coming out. But however you want to decorate it. So the base, I've used the layering diorama dies. So you get a set of, how many dies? 7 dies. I've used the 4 smallest. So the 4 in the center, I've used on Granny Apple Green cardstock. I got my words from a Wish for Everything stamp set. This has lots of words that you can put together, plus it has some cursive words, happy and wishes, and then it has some sayings that you could pop on the inside if you were doing a card, but there's no inside to this except for inside the egg. I've used the grass die. This is what it looks like here, and that comes from the Horizon dies, and that's in Granny Apple Green. I've also used the a small stamp from the ocean front stamp set. So just a little bit of grass there. You could use whatever you want, or you could just use a pen to draw some grass on the base of the design. So if you were going with something different, not grass, then you would stamp whatever you want there. I've done the little chicken on this one from the Hey Birthday Chick set. So there's a little chicken there, and you could get dies with this as well. This set is leaving the catalog. So with the new catalog, the dies won't be there. And so I've done a little birthday chicken there. And for the one I'm going to do today, I've decided I'm going to make it a New Zealand egg, and we're going to put the little kiwi in it. So the kiwi comes from the Count on Me set. So there's no die for that, but it's easy enough to fussy cut out. So I'm doing a little kiwi. I've already stamped and colored him in using the new Stampin' Blends. This brown is the color number 300, and I'm not sure what I used for the beak. It's in the current set. I'll have to look that up and let you know later. I will list everything below the video, all the products I've used, as well as the links to all the other demonstrators that are doing the global monthly video hop. So when you're done watching this, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you'd like to see more, and make sure you click on the links to go to the other videos from demonstrators around the world that are making anything but a card this month. So we'll get started on this. I'll tell you the measurements, and I'll show you how to make it. So let's move a few things out of the way. So first of all, we want to get our base. And as I said, we're going to use the 4 smallest of the diorama dies on Granny Apple Green. So because you're not going to see the center of some of these, I cut them out. So I do that quite often with my cards with the layering. I cut out the part that you might not see to use later. In this case, I'm going to use it in the same project. I'll just set that over there. So these are just a few scrap pieces, so use whatever you have. And so with the biggest die, I'm going to use the biggest die, and then I'm going to put the second to smallest one in the center because you won't be seeing that. And as you see, I've cut the insides out of there, so I can run those two together. And then the other one I'll put on the scrap piece here, and then put the smallest one inside. So you're not going to see those inside bits. So I'm going to run those two pieces through, and I'll come up with 4 pieces. And then I will also use the little grass die, again on the same color. I want 2 of them. I want one for the front and one for the back. So I'll need to cut this out twice. I'll have to run it through twice to cut that out. So I'll go do that and then come back. But the other things you need are 2 pieces of cardstock. So I went with basic white. This is 15 centimeters long by 2 centimeters wide. And then the inside, I've gone with 13 centimeters long by 1.5 centimeters wide. So it's just slightly skinnier to give that impression of being inside the egg. So you need those 2 pieces. You also need a scrap piece of white to stamp the words Easter and another scrap piece of white to stamp the words Happy. And for this one, I'm going to change it up a little bit as well. Besides having my kiwi inside my egg, I'm going to speckle the outside of the egg. Now, kiwi eggs don't necessarily have speckles on them, but I just wanted to give it a try. So we'll see how it goes, if it comes out looking good, because even though this is really cute and adorable, it does to me look a little bit plain on the outside. And I've changed some of the colors up. So I'm going to go die cut these, and I'll come back and do all the stamping. Okay, so I've done all the die cutting. I did those 2 dies to give me these 2 pieces here, and these 2 dies there to give me those 2 pieces. And we'll just move those out of the way. And then I die cut the grass twice. So that's my grass there. So now let's glue these together before I stamp on them. That's the easiest way to do it. So I'm just going to layer them up. And so you see, you can see right through it there, but then once I put the other layers on, you can't see it anymore. Okay? So because of that, I just want to put glue just around the edges of the cutout ones, because I don't want to have anything glued through the center because of the fact that it's cut out. So just pop a bit of glue just around the edges. Okay. And then just layer it up. And I use the liquid glue because instead of tape or anything, because it gives me the wiggle room. And then again, I could do it around the edge there, or I could just put it around the edge here, and that way I know where it's going to be stuck properly down to the bottom one. So again, just around the edges. These diorama dies are great because you can use them to have look-through sections, like I could have some through there on a card, or you can layer them up to make it look like different layers of ground or hill or such. I could even use some glue dots to raise it up if I wanted to give it some height. So I'm sticking that down there. And now this one, it doesn't matter because there's nothing cut out, so I can put the glue straight onto the back of the solid piece. And just stick that how I like it. Now, you may have noticed there's stamping on the back. So off camera, I went ahead and I stamped the Stampin' Up! Copyright image as well as my contact details. I do that on all my projects so that if I sell or give them to somebody, they know who made them. But if you sell any products, no matter whether you're a demonstrator or just a hobbyist and not associated with Stampin' Up! But are using their products, it must have the copyright Stampin' Up! Stamp on it if it's being sold. It's called the Angel Policy, and the nice thing is Stampin' Up! Is quite happy for you to use their copyright images to make money. but you do need to stamp that on them to show that the images are not yours, they are Stampin' Up's images. And then you're quite allowed to sell them and make money from those products. And you can read more about the angel policy on the Stampin' Up website. It's also in the catalog. So it's in several different places, and it's just their way to allow anybody that uses Stampin' Up products to make money from them, from making things. Like I can make lots of these and sell them at craft markets. Okay, so now we're going to stamp on there, and we're going to put the little grass. So you might think, why didn't I stamp it beforehand? But I want the grass to line up on every little piece. Not black. I don't want black. I want, there we go, the Granny Apple Green. Okay. Now, because I am going over 4 layers in some parts, I do need to give it decent pressure. So just ink it up. Because it is photopolymer, you can see through it, so you can see where the ink is. And then just deciding which is going to be the front versus the back. I'm just going to give it good pressure, hold it for a second, straight up, and so I've managed to stamp over those 3 layers. Let's try one a bit further down. And I did this just because I wanted to give a bit of dimension to the bottom. The other thing I could have done is embossed with the embossing folder right on to the cardstock, and that would have given it some sort of dimension as well. But this is just my idea for this, is that the egg is just sitting out there in the grassy garden waiting to be found with a happy little chicken in it. So just stamp wherever you want. I'm going to turn it a bit and make my grass go slightly different directions. Because you could be viewing this from any way. Okay, just a couple more. So I'm just making sure I got plenty of ink and giving it good pressure on there. And I might just put a little bit more on that side. I'll just slip a bit of paper underneath so I can have some coming down from this side. There we go. So there we go, like a little grassy mound that we're going to pop our egg onto. So let's clean that off. Now I'm going to do the rest of our stamping. So I've already done my kiwi and cut it out. Now let's do the words. I decided I'm going with a different color, so I'm going to use Flirty Flamingo. And just stamp the words happy on a piece of scrap cardstock. And then I will fussy cut that out. And then I'm going to stamp the words Easter. Where did I put them? Oh, that's what you get when you have small stamps. Okay, found them. They were buried. So I'm just going to do that with black. So I'll use my Memento Tuxedo black ink and just put the words Easter. So as I said earlier, this stamp set called A Wish for Everything, you can just mix and match words. So it's got all the holidays and then other ones like, you know, have a merry holidays, wishes, day, happy. So you can mix and match all you like. I could just put the whole Happy Easter on here. But I'm just going to put the word Easter on. Bit crooked, but that's me, I stamp crooked. So I'll cut that down in a minute, and that is all the stamping. So we just need to put things together. So, oh no, I decided I'm going to do the speckling. That's right. I do have more stamping for this one. So I'll bring my scrap paper in. And so with my basic white, there's a couple of ways you could do it. You could use a stamp set, so a stamped image. And this stamped image is from the Quiet Meadow set, so it's got speckles like that. Or you could do the speckling with a water painter. So you could pick up some ink on there and splash it down. Or you could even use a pen, and if you want to just use a pen, colored pen, and put dots wherever you want. So I'm just going to try this out, see how it looks. Okay, so I'm using Pool Party. I was thinking of a speckled blue egg. And I'm just going to use that image and give some speckles to it. And sometimes when you're using an image, if you turn it around, you can get things to sit differently. Oh, I like those speckles. Quite nice. Yeah, so that's my speckled egg there. But just to show you those other options I mentioned, so if you had a pen, you could just dot it wherever you want. If you have a water painter, you could either use the re-inker, if you have the right color re-inker, or you press the center of your stamp pad and it puts some ink onto the lid. And so grab one of your water painters. Now, this is quite dry. I haven't used it in a while. So you put water in this end, unscrews, and you put water in that end. So where it says push, you push a bit to get some of the water to flow out. And I'm just going to push it a bit. Wait till the water flows out. So it's now got water there. And then you can pick up some of your ink from the lid. And the more water, the wetter and easier it is to do your speckling. So I'm going to try it on the other side just to show you how it looks. Move everything out of the way that you don't want to get speckled. And then you can simply tap. Some people tap if you got a lot of color on it. So you can't see much from there, but if I bring it up, you can see there are a few speckles. The other thing you can do is use the cap and flick. I think I'm flicking more on that outside of this. Let me get some more color on there. I'll bring it up close so you'll be able to see. This gives you more of a subtle look, depending on how much water you have on your water painter. Just a little bit more. And the harder you flick and the closer you are when you flick it, you get different sized dots. So it's a good thing to practice on. When you're done with that, make sure you squish it a bit to get the water to flow and rub it on scrap paper until it flows clean. It may stain the tip of your pen, but as long as it's flowing clean from the brush, then you know that you don't have any ink still on there. So here, I'll pull that up to the camera so you can see. So there are some little specks. So see, that gives you the subtleness. So that's a subtle painted egg, and that's a darker painted egg. I'm going to go with the dark one today, but I just wanted to show you the difference there. But that's still slightly wet, so I'm just going to press that down to get that wetness off. So those are a couple ways you can speckle things. Now, to do your egg, you just want to gently run the bone folder along it. That will just help to break up the fibers and allow you to shape it the way you want it to shape. And do the same with the yellow inside yolk. You don't want it to be too stiff when you do your egg, or you'll get creases on it. So run that through a bit. Now you're going to want some tear and tape for the next part. You're also gonna, I forgot to mention, you're gonna need a piece of window sheet, just a little scrap piece of window sheet, any little plastic piece you've got lying around. If you don't have the Stampin' Up! Window sheets, when you buy things and they have like a plastic front to them, especially at the moment, if you buy like chocolate Easter sweets, they usually have a clear plastic front to the box so you can see what's inside. Don't throw that away. Keep it. And then you can cut the plastic up to use for these kind of projects. So that's another place you can get that. So I need my tear and tape. So just a little piece of tear and tape. And as the name implies, you can tear it. So just a little bit there, tear it off. And taking it to the bottom of your yoke. Tape it one side and bring your other side, tape it one side and bring your other side together and just have it sit there. Now don't peel it off yet. You just want it to sit like that. And then do the same thing to your egg white. So again, this one, because it's wider, I'm going to use 2 pieces of tear and tape. So there's one there. Put it on one side, bring my yoke together, put it on the other side. Now that I have the 2 together, I can just bring the tape up here, put that on one side, tear it off, and stick it down. Now this is on the outside part of those 2 bits, okay? So once you're happy with that, then just peel away your edge from your yoke piece, the paper from there, and stick that inside the white one. Try to line it up, but it doesn't matter that much. But what you want to do is make sure you have kind of the same amount of white on either side of your center piece. So don't push it down until you have it sort of lined up. Okay, and then that sticks in there. And then you can just sort of manipulate it a bit. Give yourself kind of an egg shape. You don't want it too stiff, don't want it pointy, but you just want to manipulate it into sort of an egg shape. And because they're 2 different lengths, they're gonna sit at 2 different heights. And that way you can see the yellow inside. So probably should have manipulated the inside one first, but I only just created this design a few days ago, so it's only the 2nd time I've done it. Okay, so that's sort of egg-like. Okay, so see how it's kind of egg-like? Then you can rip off the bottom, that covering for the bottom tear and tape. There we go. And then you're going to want to center it onto your base. So you can decide which way you want the front to be, which end, and then you're going to just center it in there best you can. And there you go. Just pushed it down and the tape is holding it in place. Okay, now we want to place our kiwi or your little bird. So with your piece here, it doesn't need to be as long as I've got there. So my little kiwi's going to sit up that high and then the bottom part's bent. So I'm just going to cut a piece off. If you want to know, it's roughly about 2 centimeters. This is about 1 centimeter by 2 centimeters of window sheet is what I'm using. Just so it gives the illusion that the chick is just sitting there. So you want to take part, so there's your window sheet. I don't know if you can see it. Okay, there we go. So you want to just bend part of it over, part on the bottom over. Okay. Give it a nice good bend. So now we have that bent piece there. You burnish it if you want. Nice thing with the window sheets, they are forgiving. Okay, so that bottom piece, you're going to put your tear and tape on there. So when you bend it over, you want it about the width of whatever tear and tape you're using. If you're having trouble with tear and tape, you could put a glue dot there, but I find tear and tape's better. And then the kiwi's going to sit there on that side. So again, figure out how high it's going to be, and this time put your tear and tape on the opposite end. The reason we're using tear and tape, if you haven't worked with window sheets before, this little plastic, glue doesn't work very well on it. It just ends up being very slippery. And glue dots or tear and tape is what you want to use. So I've got my tear and tape there. I'm just going to pop my kiwi down. It doesn't have to be all the way down because you're not really going to see his feet. But you just want him to be where he's going to be able to sit in there. I think I might angle him slightly. I'm going to angle him up more. So I'm going to angle him so he's going up more. And then pull the other piece, backing off the other tear and tape. And this is probably the most fiddly part. You could use tweezers if you want. Basically, you want to hold your chicken or your kiwi and place him down in the center there. Once he's placed, you can push on there. And because, as I said, it's the window sheet is forgiving, you can bend him back and forth. So there's a little kiwi in the egg right now. He appears to be floating there. So I could have put him lower, but the grass is going to cover up some of that. So then the grass, I want it to go around the front. And I found it's better to try to have some of these bigger pieces touching the edge of the egg to glue it down. So I'm just bending the side piece there over. And I'm not going to take it off completely. I'll just snip a little bit of the extra off, because that way I can glue the other piece to there, the back piece. It'll help it make it stable. And you could use glue dots, or you could just use your glue. And I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the edge of the white. So if you want, you could just use a glue dot there, and the bottom down there, and this edge here, just slightly up. Quite skinny piece of glue. And then I'm going to glue it, see that big piece there, and that piece there, my finger is, I'm going to try to get that to stick onto the edge of the egg. Okay, so I'm just gently pushing that onto the edge of the egg. Okay. Oh, stuck to my finger. If you want it to be more secure, you could maybe have a bit of green popping up from underneath to stick it onto. But yeah, I'm just sticking that on there and there. Then the other side, if I put it on that way, that's how it will look. But that's the rough part of it. So I want the nice smooth front cut to be showing. So I want it to show the same direction. And I will bend this part round and snip a little bit off there. And basically I'm going to do the same thing here. Bit of glue on the edge of the white. And on this edge here. And then stick my piece over. So try to get that tall bit over there. And I can just press to hold that in place. And then that smaller bit over there. And then what I found to give it a little bit more stability is a little bit of glue on this part here that I snipped off. And then I can fold the other part into there. I can try to fold it. It's hard to do this on camera. There we go. Overlap the two. I got too much glue there, but that's okay. It will dry. So those two pieces are now overlapping with more glue than I need, but that's all right. Okay, my tweezers, that'll be more helpful. So I'm just going to use my tweezers to help put those two bits back into each other. Oh, so those two bits there, just push them into place. That just gives it a little stability and also gives you a bit of grass at the side. And then I'm just going to hold those two side bits in place for a little while. There we go. So now you have your little kiwi in the egg sitting in the little grass. Okay, so I'm just going to fussy cut our words quickly. And just cut around the words. You could just leave them straight, you know, make it into a banner if you want. But I like the look of fussy cut words. They just... Now with fussy cutting, if you're not that familiar with it, the best thing to do is leave the hand with the scissors straight and manipulate the cardstock around your scissors. And I use closer to the hinge for the cutting. So if we come around, and I just am using my left hand to turn the paper the way I want it, to give me more control. And that I find is the easiest way to do the fussy cutting. And I don't cut it all the way to the tip of the scissors, I just do it around the edge. If I'm running out of space on the scissors, I just open them up a bit to let them get closer to the hinge, and just using my left hand to manipulate. It's not easy to fussy cut something really tiny, but when you have something big enough that you can hold with the other hand. So quite often if I'm going to fussy cut something, I stamp it on a bigger piece of cardstock, so I know I've got something to hold. Oh, there we go, and just turn. I'm using the left hand to turn the paper. And we'll just snip that there. Okay, that's our word happy. And Easter is a little easier. I'm just going to make that into a little banner. So I'll just cut close to the E on that side. And then I might straighten up the top a little bit because I did do it crooked. So if you want a banner, it's best to cut straight from the center toward where you want the banner to be, and then you come in from each corner to where you stopped your cutting. So that gives you a banner. Some people call it a flag. So it basically gives you a triangular end. All right. And I'm going to pop that one up on dimensionals, and I'm going to glue this one down on the side like I did before. So I'm going to glue it down the right way around. Had it upside down. I'm going to glue it just there. My original one I used a glue dot, and if you have a glue dot and they're too big, what you do is you squish them in your fingers to get it to this shape and the thinness that you want. This one I'm going to do it with the glue and just hold it in place until the glue sets. gonna hold it in place there for a minute. But this one, I don't know if you can quite see. There's a glue dot in the middle there, so it's not actually glued at the very top. It's just held on with the glue dot. Oh. So if you prefer that, you can do it, or you can do it with the glue. There we go. And now all I need is a dimensional. So should be able to get a mini dimensional on this guy. Yep. Mini dimensional there. And let's go for a partial. So the nice thing you can do with your dimensionals, you can always cut pieces off the edge. So I'm going to just cut a piece off the edge there. And use that on the other side of my banner. So I've got a mini dimensional and one that I cut up. So we're gonna pop that down right here. So the other nice thing with putting things on the base, if you had an error with stamping or smudge, you can cover it up. So there we go. So there's our little kiwi. Happy Easter, and he's in a speckled egg. Or you can have your little party chick that says Happy Easter. You could change it to Happy Birthday, something else, whatever you'd like. So the main thing with this was the layering diorama dies, and then the words were a wish for everything, and then you could have your choice of either the little chicken from the Hey Birthday Chicks, or the kiwi from the other stamp set. That was Count on Me. So if you're in another country, you might be able to fit the fox, the penguin, or the koala in the egg, although those don't really go in eggs, but if you want it to have something more for your area. This one also has a little grass stamp too, so you could use that to put grass on the bottom as well. And then if you want to speckle your egg, I just use the stamp from the Quiet Meadow set, and use whichever colors you like to match up with the cardstock you're using. So I hope you enjoyed that. It was definitely not a card, so this is a little Easter decoration you can have, and I hope you enjoyed that. Give me a thumbs up. Make sure you look at the links to click over to some of the other demonstrators from around the world to see what they're making that is definitely not a card. So it's anything but a card theme month. I hope you've enjoyed that, and come back next month to see some more projects and ideas, and I'd love to see what you make. Please leave me a comment. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.